Being in education for art and design for such a long time, I'm a really big fan of visual communication and mind maps and pictures and words that explain and represent thoughts and the connections between them. I'm also a big fan of constructionism, developed by Piaget and Papert back earlier this century. They were particularly looking at the theories of deep learning by using hands and making things. And that really underpins this university, our host today, Aachen University of Creative Arts and Design, and other great universities of art and design around the world. I hope these visuals are going to help you follow the story and see connections and remember it for longer than you would have ordinarily have done. Okay? Play, seriously. That's one of the more polite reactions I get from businessmen when I'm suggesting to them that they incorporate play into the workplace, or more specifically, an aspect of play called serious play. I try to explain it's going to be of real benefit in so many different ways to individuals, to teams, to organizations, and their organization of a whole. That's not the reaction I get from most business women, though, and we'll return to that later, the difference between the businessmen and the businesswomen. So what's the problem? I think that one issue is that we have a very strong perceived difference between the world of work and the world of play. Another problem is the belief that work and play are mutually incompatible conventions and can't coexist together, at least in the workplace. It's been well known in practice for a long time in forward-thinking countries, like Scandinavia, for instance, Finland in particular, that incorporating play into lessons, into schools, can really improve the attention spans, the attainment, and the progress of students in schools. So why not in business? Work and living is a serious business. Of that, there's no doubt. But a great misconception about work and play being so different, like chalk and cheese, I think stems from a deep-seated belief that play is child's work, and for adults engaged in real work, there's no time or space for play. But we as adults don't necessarily stop playing. George Bernard Shaw famously once wrote that we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. That's worth thinking about. But however, play is usually separated from work and confined to specific rule-based and time-bound, competitive games, football, rugby, etc. Outcome-focused activities where you have winners and losers. Sports, hobbies, and other creative pursuits. We tend to follow Theodore Roosevelt's belief that when you play, play hard, and when you work, don't play at all. There's no room for it. We work for financial reward, and we spend some of that financial reward on leisure. That's the big difference. And that leisure usually includes play of some sort, either participating in it or as a spectator. And it's almost always outside of the workplace and away from the world of work and totally disconnected from the type of work that we're doing in order to earn that financial reward to play. So play, work, there's a big disconnection. I and many others believe that leaving playfulness outside of the workplace is an opportunity lost to both the individual and the organization. The world today is ambiguous, I think you'd agree, forever changing and quite unpredictable. Actually, it always has been, but it's the pace of change, the fast pace of change that's making us anxious, and it's become much faster nowadays than it used to be. But we still have to get on with our lives, we still have to get on with living, and we still have to make sense of this unglued and ambiguous world in our daily lives and business. And I'll talk about business now. So in this crazy context, business leaders still have to make well-informed, solid strategies, forecasts, and business plans. And using serious play or bringing serious play into the workplace is showing more and more evidence of being able to deliver new leadership skill sets of creativity, innovation, and in particular resilience, which I believe are essential for success and a healthy, connected, and productive workforce. I want to focus and talk a little about Lego Serious Play. It's a facilitated method of thinking, communication, and problem solving that's being more and more brought into the workplace in organizations, teams, and individuals. It draws on extensive research from the fields of business, organizational development, psychology, and learning, and is based again on those theories and concepts of constructionism, where I mentioned Piaget and Papin earlier on. There are 4 core steps to the Lego process. One, the facilitator basically asks a number of questions. Those have been pre-informed by talking to the company in great detail to find out what their business issues are. They bring together a group of relevant people to address the problems. The next step is sitting down and sort of asking questions based on that understanding. The participants are then asked to create 3-dimensional models of their in a response to the question, and then tell stories, use metaphors about their understanding of the models. Individuals then share their models. This sharing and open communication is really important. They share their models with other participants who carefully listen to the stories. And the final step is all about making connections, asking clarification questions about the models and what they represent, and finally crystallizing the thoughts of the group and bringing those into a roadmap towards collaboratively addressing and solving those problems through their actions. Lego Serious Play can be challenging, it often is. It can be emotional, it often is, as people think deeper about their work, what they're doing, why they're doing it. But it's always mind-opening, it's always effective, and it's always great fun. So imagine the benefits of bringing a new method, a new way of collaborative, inclusive thinking into the workplace, a new way of problem solving, a new way of working that's participative rather than exclusive, that's purposeful rather than aimless. It's a process rather than ad hoc and reactive, and it's healthy rather than exhaustive and cynical. It's a process and a method that's all about collaboration. It's all about action, and it's all about outcomes. It's not about endless meetings with no outcomes and no actions. Serious Play is rule-based. There's a certain etiquette. It does have a process, and it is time-based. It doesn't take forever. Normally you do it in an afternoon or a morning, or at the very most, if you're looking at an enterprise level and you bring in competitors and a whole world picture into it, then it can take up to 3 days. But Serious Play, it's rule-based and it does have a process, and I've been looking at the particular etiquette and behaviors that Lego Serious Play and other forms of Serious Play insist on to make it work. And at the same time, I've been reading a lot about business thinking and the way it's being redefined around the world at the moment, especially around the unique and natural, I believe, leadership qualities of women rather than men. Authors like American authors like Martha Barletta, Tom Peters, Guru, Business Organizational Theory, and also the incredibly named Faith Popcorn, have made an awful lot of insights into this. Those behaviors needed for successful outcomes from Serious Play, such as empathy, inclusiveness, collaboration, active listening, and collaboration and cooperation, seem to be, from those authors, more natural attributes of women leaders than men leaders in industry. And maybe that refers back to my original comment of the reaction play, seriously, that I normally get from businessmen rather than businesswomen, who are more accepting of bringing play into the workplace. So what do we need to do about it? Maybe we need to, well, certainly Serious Play practitioners need to continue what they're doing and multiply and come up with new arguments and new compelling reasons to convince business leaders to bring them into business. but also I think we need to recognize the natural leadership attributes between women and between men. I don't think we're looking for a revolution in the business world, but perhaps we're looking for an evolution to happen, to make the business world and perhaps the world a better place. Okay, so to conclude, I'd just like to finish with a song. I'm not going to sing, not myself, but you can consider it more of a quote or like a mantra to take home with you and think about often. And it more or less sums up the talk about bringing play into the workplace. It's from somebody quite famous who you might recognize, not a philosopher, but an actress. It's called Mary Poppins, from the movie Mary Poppins. And
in every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. You find the fun, and snap! The job's a game. And every task you undertake becomes a piece of cake, a lark, a spree. It's very clear to see.
Harika, Isle Edison's. Umarem TEDx, Keyif Li Geçer.
thank you very much. Çok teşekkürler.